Hello, Planning and Development Committee. Thank you for allowing me to speak today about curling rinks in Saskatoon. This issue has been pushed around the city since before 2018, but officially at 2018. How many times I can't even count anymore you've deflected or deferred it. Even this year, there was supposed to be a report that was finally called for last year that was supposed to come out in Q1 of this year. That deadline got missed, and now we're just about at the end of Q2. And this report comes out before it was actually even shown to the curling rinks themselves. So it's rushed out the door. I have some problems with the way this report was done, because the way that they presented some of the numbers I don't think is being totally honest. So they mentioned the 2021 tax year and the amounts, and they're a little high. It's actually $103,000 now combined for those city and library tax. But the problem is that when you get down to their spreadsheet, they changed the numbers. They don't include the 2021 numbers because that shows a massive increase, and I don't think that that was in their best interest to show it. So the CN Curling Club went from $14,553 a year in taxes to $24,238, which is a 67% increase in 1 year. The Granite Curling Club went from $36,000 to $47,000 a year. The Nutana Curling Club went from $64,996 to $75,069. Sutherland Curling Club went from $12,073 to $16,682. So also when the city says that these taxes are only 3 to 8% of their operating budget, no, they're not. They're way more than that. The Granite alone is hovering around 10%. So this is significant to them. And you've been all promising to help them for years and haven't really done anything yet. And you're now deflecting that maybe you'll do something in 2022? Maybe? That's not good enough. And the solutions that are come up by the city aren't exactly the greatest, are they? And they make reference to neighboring communities like in Alberta, Manitoba, even Saskatchewan. So people in Saskatchewan that curl here, they could jump in their car with some friends and go to a bonspiel in Red Deer, or they could come from Calgary to Saskatoon for a big bonspiel, stay in the hotels, eat in the restaurants, and partake in stuff. Because it's within a drive, you can do it. The odd time you might jump on an airplane if you've got friends and you go to Victoria, or you might go to Halifax for a bonspiel. But that's not common, so using those as references wouldn't exactly be fair, because we're competing against Alberta and Manitoba for the bulk of this business. And if we're unfairly taxing our local curling rinks and unfairly hindering them from being able to operate effectively, we're not serving our public. And there's thousands of people in Saskatoon that curl, which is a fact. And they're underrepresented by you, and that needs to change. But the big thing is the city of Saskatoon used numbers from Burnaby because they don't get special privilege there for curling. But there is kind of a problem with this because Burnaby doesn't have a curling rink. So why would they use Burnaby as an example? Because I could use Donovan, Saskatchewan. They probably don't have any special exemption because they don't have a curling rink. Lots of small towns don't. So is that a good reference? No, but if they had a curling rink, they might have special reason to keep them there because they realize the value of them. You should too. So here's a suggestion. You take some of the money that you get from the Investing in Canada infrastructure plan, and you buy the 4 curling rinks for about $8 million worth of investment. You would own all 4 properties. You give them a very long lease with a chance to extend that even further. So 60 years, 75 years, that kind of range. You charge them $100 a year rent. They have to maintain the facilities. And then you let life go on. They'll have money in the bank. They'll be able to offer services cheaper and to more people, which is good for the youth of our city, seniors, get more people out in the middle of winter. But also down the road, that land will be controlled then by the city long term. So in 100 years or in 80 years, if curling slows down, then the city could negotiate and then things could be done with that land. But the zoning, you say, isn't the problem, only M3 is. That's not really true. Aisle 1 for the Granite Curling Club you've previously stopped them from having a flea market, which would be an accessory use. So an accessory use at Prairieland Park is allowed to be anything. And yet when you get everywhere else, they have limits on what they can do. That should be unfair. So either you get permitted uses and discretionary uses for accessory, or you make it universal for everybody that they don't have to. Please make these changes. I appreciate your time.